Welcome to another episode of the Dibbly Dobblers Cricket Podcast. As always, I am your main host, Callum, and as always, I'm joined by this guy, the producer, the director, dinner lady, shoe shiner, don't know, nothing else to add.
Retired groundsman.
Canny ball at Glenrothes. Andrew, how's it going?
Just dinny. I'm going to have PTSD about my trips to Glenrothes from this year.
I mean, if you bowled the filth like you were on Saturday against them the first time, no wonder you went for the 100, honestly.
That wasn't it. Well, at least we won.
Another 4-wicket haul.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, you bowled all right.
Finished the season on 29 wickets. Sake.
You have to do better next year.
And about 290 runs or something as well. So.
Yeah. Again, we probably should have lost, but we didn't. We won it.
That's a good job we had an extra man turned up just like during the batting, during the second innings.
Or their captain took off their bowler for the best bowler for no reason.
Oh yeah, that was good as well. That was good.
5 overs, 2 for 3, and then pulled out the attack. Suits us.
It's alright. He wasn't muttering about it when he got taken off or anything. It's alright. That was an interesting call.
It was. But
hey ho, we're done for the season, but there's still cricket left to be played and was played over the weekend. That was much better than our standard. Anyway.
Indeed. So let's jump into the results from the EPL, and a pretty positive week for
it was
SPCU clubs, wasn't it? So Forfarshire convincingly beat Carlton. Scott Cameron finding some form with the bat with an unbeaten 80. And Jack O'Neill with a nice 5-wicket haul for just 19 runs.
Expensive.
Good bowling performance there as they bowled Carlton out for 116 to win by a lot. Stonywood...
CBA with the maths there, was it?
Aye, pretty much. You've not put the maths on screen, so
Fair
I'm not
enough.
working it out. Stonywood Dice were defeated by Heriots, bowled out for 170, and Heriots got their 5 down with plenty of time to spare. They were the only of the 4 SPCU region teams to taste defeat this weekend because Falkland defeated RH Corstorphine. Decent batting performances, sort of 4 half-centuries. Meikle up top, Curry with 69, Castle with 53, and Lyle Robertson with 59. A very decent strike rate as well.
It was about 130.
Sort of, 40 odd balls or something like that. And actually, because it was, they only got there with 2 overs to spare.
And that was important, that strike rate. That
it really was.
Corstorphine, I know Corstorphine are the SPCU team, but they just seem to have turned into Naylor, and that's about it. He's scoring the runs, taking the wickets if they take them, and that kind of seems to be about it. Yeah,
they started the year really well and have sort of fallen away quite a lot recently. They were in the title hunt for a good chunk of the year, but just the last few weeks have kind of fallen away. And then down the bottom of our graphic, they unfortunately already relegated Arbroath United, but they did pick up another victory. And it was the Bryce Carnegie show actually a little bit for Arbroath. He got 41. Mark Petrie got 84 and Craig Cameron 50. But Bryce also picked up 5 for 41 as well. So
Mark Petrie has had some end to the season. I want to say that's his 4th half-century on the trot in the EPL.
If that could have happened 3 weeks earlier, they probably might have been all right.
Well, possibly, and that's I suppose that's what it kind of said. The batting wise, they got talent there, and it was more the bowling. But it's disappointing that they're relegated, but I'm sure they're kind of going to be happier. At least they've managed to get some. There was one at one point it looked like they may have gone down with no victories whatsoever.
Yeah, so, it did. So they have found a bit of momentum towards the back end of the year.
Yep.
And absolutely no doubt that they'll be there or thereabouts to bounce back next year. It'll be a tough league in the NEC again next year with them in the mix. So we're going to look at the table and see what that has done. And it's pretty much as you were, other than Falkland have crept above Stonywood Dice.
They have, and I can't remember what the fixtures are for next week. But could Falkland get themselves into 7th position?
Yeah, I worked this out the other day. Falkland, because they've played a game less. So, say Stumel was rained off and Falkland won, then they would be a point ahead of them, having played the same games.
I bet they. Oh well, yes, yeah. So yeah.
I think it was something like Stumel need to have less than 11 or so bonus points in a loss if Falkland win.
I mean, Falkland would have to beat Heriots. So
yeah, I mean it's
a
tough one that they've got to finish with. But I mean, Heriots might be in holiday mode by now. I mean,
that's true.
It's the last game of the season. They've won the title. Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened. But yeah, no, very good end to the season. And I think they'll be pretty chuffed with themselves if they can hold on to that 8th spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've got... the run-in Harsha has been huge for them. In the run-in. They've got him signed up again for next year as well. So they'll be hoping that, they can build on that and get further up the table
it's probably like
next summer.
US presidential thing. They're probably like chanting 4 more years.
I mean, I think he's there as long as he wants to be.
As long as he wants. I would imagine so.
Yeah. That was the Eastern Premier League. We'll have a look at I'm going to get my geography right this time. We're going to have a look at the South group of the NEC.
I'm still ashamed of myself that I didn't realise until you said that the other week that that's how the fixtures were split. I really don't know why that never dawned on me, but it hadn't. So it's quite embarrassing, really.
Yeah, well. Meagle comfortably beat Arbroath's seconds, 300 for 8, played 125 all out. Raju Gayashan with 110.
I don't know why that 4 for 34 is there. I'm a bit confused, but we'll just pretend that's not there.
That's your graphic, mate.
I have no idea.
Your graphic. Is that back-to-back tons for Raju?
I think it is.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sticking with that.
I'm just going to work out if there's I'm fairly certain there isn't a reason that that's there. So I think...
Just carelessness. You hadn't hit the delete button.
The delete button was not my... Oh, no, sorry. No. It should say J Burnett.
Yes, it should. Right. But yes, a comfortable win for Meagle. Fruki with a comfortable win as well. 202 for 8, Perth Ducat scored, and Fruki chased it down with 7 wickets and the best part of 15 overs to spare. That's quite the run scoring, isn't it?
And the Milkman took a hat trick.
He did. He took 2 and 2 at the end of the over, then get pulled out of the attack. Seems harsh to me.
It does, but I think when you explained that it was so that Safi could come in and bowl all his overs.
Yeah.
That probably does make a bit more sense. And then you had Dean Stonebridge at the start of the attack, who scored 44 off 21 balls. Obviously decided he wasn't sticking around.
Yeah. Got it off to the ideal start. Former Ducat player Asif Naeem with 42. Decent contribution. And Safi with 59 not out.
Although apparently Ducat had 4 former Fruki players in their team as well. So
4?
A group of... I was actually trying to work out who the 4 were.
Cash. And
Cash, Kayam and Asif had all played. But
right.
I'm not 100% sure who the 4th one was, but apparently there was 4. So I see. But yeah, so guys that know each other well. And I was informed it was all played in good spirits.
That's good.
So
good to hear.
Because there has been falling out by certain parties that in the 2 teams in the past. So.
There has. Witnessed some of them. Anyway, let's move on. Forfarshire comfortably beat Dundee High School. Andrew Loudon, I think it is.
I forgot that there's more than one Loudon. I thought it was...
Oh, was it the other one?
It was M. Loudon. Was it?
Was it?
Let me check. is Matthew.
Matthew Loudon. Right, okay. And 48 not out for Fergus Duncan and 43 for Richard Rennie. Richard, do you not fancy scoring a 50, Nat?
Do you know, we slagged Richard off on this podcast once, and pretty much every other week that he's played since we slagged him off, he's scored runs. So what I take from that is I need to slag Richard off more often.
Yeah.
So that's all right.
Well, I mean, if you look back at the performances today, we had Bryce Carnegie on the show a couple of weeks ago, and then he puts in a big performance. So you've just got to engage with the podcast, and then you'll perform well.
Exactly.
But yeah, Fergus Duncan performed with bat and ball. He took for 3 for 30 with the ball, and Graham Quinn, is that right? I'm going with it. 3 for 19 as well. So yeah, that's the South group of the NEC, and we'll take a look at the North group now. Huntley keep on trucking. Bowled out Stoney with dice 2s for 101, 3 wickets each for Morrison and Squire, 3 for 6. Wasn't it from 1.4 overs, I think, as well?
Something like that. It was.
It's right out. We'll just clean that up, thanks.
Thoroughly wrapping up the tail.
Yeah, and 102 for 2 in the chase. Samuel Kukunitz, 50 not out. He's just been quality since he's arrived, hasn't he?
Absolutely. I would imagine Huntley may be trying to get both brothers to return next year.
Absolutely, yeah, because they have been just, different.
Well, if it's no one, it's the other, pretty much.
Yeah.
So.
Similar sort of game between Strathmore and Aberdeenshire, 105 all out. Strathmore with Saraswat 4 for 17, Monroe 3 for 23, Aberdeenshire 106 for 4 in the chase. Lots of starts, no one getting to that sort of 50 mark.
No, the two who were not out kind of had starts, just the threshold is 40 to get on here, so there wasn't a lot of runs to play with. Lewis Monroe, like Dean Stonebridge, I think he was 30 off about 12 balls or something ridiculous. So he obviously decided he was not for hanging around in for any longer than he needed to.
Yeah, and then the last game, Gordonians against Kinloch. Gordonians 173 for 9 from their 45. Meta with 63 not out. Hussein 4 for 29 and Niazi 3 for 39. Kinloch bowled out for 111. Niazi contributing with the bat as well as the ball, with 43 runs there, and 2 3 for 9 from Bandari, and I think that was from a decent amount of overs as well, actually.
I think it was very tight.
And Wig 3 for 40.
I do actually think Meta's 63 not out. It was as good as about a strike rate of about 50. But actually, when you look at you would argue in the first 2 games that in that section, the weaker team batted first.
Yeah.
I mean, for Aberdeenshire, there was a clip on the feed of Forrester took Brits' wicket, and you could tell they knew that was a big wicket, because that's kind of where they were going to win the game or not in reality. So it's a very low-scoring group, but in a very low-scoring, section, that 63 was actually probably quite. I'm assuming it maybe wasn't very batsman-friendly. I can't remember what the conditions. Well, we're a bit far away from them to know what the conditions are.
Yeah, but there was a lot of rain about on Saturday, wasn't there?
So it was maybe a tough ask, and he definitely ground that. It wasn't a flamboyant 63 by any stretch of the imagination. So. And
you mentioned Tian Brits. That's him flown home now as well. So he's not available for the last round of fixtures for Strathmore. So that's he's been superb. I can't recall an amateur having such a massive effect, certainly immediately.
Yeah, I think it was how immediate it was, and being so, obviously amateurs tend to be young, but just so young and no experience in conditions and whatever else. And you see bowlers, it's probably less problematic to adapt, but when guys are coming over used to very hard decks and fast outfields and stuff, Scotland is a tough place to come and play cricket. Did really well. Yeah, you look back to when he arrived, I think he got off the plane, and then the day after he scored 60 odd in a T20 against Ducat at Ducat. He just took to it.
immediately. So yeah, very impressive. And yeah, I think Strathmore will be desperate for him to come back, but I can't see it, unfortunately.
No, I think...
imagine there might be teams a level up going, come join us next summer.
I would imagine so, and I think the reality of it is that I think he would have possibly been right up there in the batting list had it not been for his injury.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so impact on the table, and
a lot more movement in this table.
Yeah, a lot of movement round the mid-table of this one, and Forfarshire with jumping up 3 places above Arbroath, Tews, Kinloch and Strathmore. So they should be pretty safe now. Even if I'm led to believe that 4 is the maximum that will go down.
Right.
Yeah, I can't see them dropping below those 2 again.
Well, those 2 play each other as well.
They do. So Forfarshire would have to take heavy defeat, and it to be a close, high-scoring game in the other one for them to get back above.
So
them.
yeah, it's not beyond the realms of impossibility, but yeah. And the best one in the world, they're playing Ducat. And I wouldn't expect that to be an absolute thumping.
No, I wouldn't. And Ducat, the other side that have moved, is Fruki jump above them with that victory over them. So that's where the NEC table lands. Time for the team of the week. Oh no, we've got other results first.
Loads of cricket of the weekend.
It was T20 finals day on Sunday for both the women and the men. So we're going to have a look at the women's T20 finals day first. Northern Lights with a rather comfortable affair in the semi-final. They bowled West of Scotland out for 33 and chased it down 37 for 5. I noticed that I think Captain Megan McCall used her resources in this game, shall we say.
Flipped her batting
lineup, didn't bowl.
I
gave everyone a shot.
Bit of a pounding.
It
really.
was.
But well done on Northern Lights.
Yeah, much tighter affair, and well, not really a tight affair, but a more high-scoring affair in the other semi-final. Carlton scored 130 for 4 with Abby Aitken-Drummond 64 not out, 44 there. And
it was when I was doing that, typing this up, I was like, I mean, given that 2 of their players, they only lost 4 wickets, and 2 of the players made 108 runs between them, actually only get into 130, I thought. It just surprised me that they got to 130 off the 20, which I don't think that's that bad a score, but it just surprised me to see that 108 of that came from 2 people.
It
was obviously just...
Maybe just got the balance of risk just slightly wrong, and I think Stuart Melville, when it was their turn to bat, kind of showed that because they chased it down quite easily with 6 and a bit overs to spare. But then you look at the final and we've got Stuart Melville made 133 for 7 from their 20 overs. Yes, they lost more wickets, but you've got 2 players that made up 100 runs with a 67 and a 33. And sort of 4 balls difference in the chase that Northern Lights got there, and getting 135 for 3 off 14.5, so 5 and a bit overs to spare. Becky Glenn kind of got them off to a perfect start with 48, and Ailsa Lister got 25.
Not many either.
I don't think either of them really hung about much. Made the fast start, and Northern Lights got home comfortably to be crowned Women's T20 Scottish Cup champions in their debut season. So congratulations to them.
I feel like Becky Glenn and Ailsa Lister, if you take everybody in their own environment, because we've all spoke about that on this podcast, that's what we've got to do. They have to be right up there with the most destructive opening pairs.
Yeah. So obviously the Scotland women are playing this week against playing Fairbreak tomorrow as we record, and then Sunday. And they play 1 game tomorrow and 2 games on Sunday, and then they're playing Ireland next week. Becky Glenn not in that squad.
I think she's been added to the squad.
She's been added to it now.
because
she wasn't
I had
initially.
seen something it wasn't initially, and I'm sure I saw her in the last squad, unless she's in for the Ireland games and not or something like that. But I'm certain.
Right. Okay. But yeah, that was I couldn't really understand how she hadn't been selected, because she has been absolutely brilliant for Northern Lights.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so yes, fantastic. Well done to Northern Lights. You had a brilliant first season, and finishing it off with silverware. Fantastic stuff.
Yep, clearly this area are the T20 Masters.
Spoiler alert, because we're about to speak about the men. And Forfarshire were in action against Heriots in the semi-final, first off. And that was a massive game. Heriots obviously a quality side, and they scored 159 for 4 from their 20 overs. But Forfarshire were able to chase that down with 10 balls remaining. Michael Leask doing Michael Leask things. 61 off, not very many.
That's a fair point, really.
It is, isn't it? It's just Leask doing Leask things. Rory Johnson and Jack O'Neill with contributions as well. Bryce Alchin, the pick of the bowlers, with 2 for 21. And Fergusley comfortably got past Gala in the other semi-final.
I am not sure Gala will be sending massive amounts of fear into the NEC winners on that display. They are a step down, and Fergusley are a good team, but I'm not sure it'll be sending shockwaves.
I would agree. So that meant Fergusley against Forfarshire in the final. And, well, I guess Forfarshire were batting first, and Michael Leask did Michael Leask things. He's got 87 off not very many.
An echo in this room.
And Callum Garden with a decent contribution as well. Obviously taking some learnings from watching some dibbly dobblers play some midweek limited over stuff.
I can only imagine I've helped his career immensely.
And Fergusley 115 for 9 in the chase, so they got nowhere near it. They made a very fast start. Stafford got 44, and I think was in 44 and after about 4 overs. Before
wasn't many.
Yeah, Scott Cameron prized him out with a nice short delivery, and then he did exactly the same thing to Riyad Henry next ball, which was huge. But rather than us talking about this, how about we speak to someone that was there? So we're about to go across to.
Do we not need to do Team of the Week first? We need to do Team of the Week first.
I'm going to do Team of the Week.
Otherwise,
right.
It's something that comes up is a bit weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Right, we've got an interview coming up with a Forfarshire player, but we'll do Team of the Week first. Right. Yes, let's share Team of the Week. Here it is. You going through it?
I was going to say, you've done an awful lot of talking tonight, Andrew. It's been nice. I'm really tired. So we've got Becky Glenn opening up alongside Raju Gayashan of Meagle.
Who didn't open up.
But I think he's just become our makeshift opener. So
I didn't even have to move him. He was at 2 last week as well.
It's good. Great. Michael Leask at 3 for doing Michael Leask things on Sunday. Mark Petrie 84 against Stuart Melville. 63 balls as well. I mean, that was no
didn't hang about.
No, it didn't. Then we've got Scott Cameron, 80 not out on Saturday versus Carlton in the EPL. Again, not hanging around, 64 balls. And that critical 3-over spell of 3 for 29 in the final.
Yeah.
Lyle Robertson against Christopher for Falklands at 6, and we spoke about this 59 off 44. I mean, that was key. They didn't get over the line with many balls to spare.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of between Lyle and Harsha for this spot in the Team of the Week.
I definitely feel that Lyle's, it was 10 runs less, but
yeah, it was the fact that he scored at that sort of 130-ish strike rate.
Yeah. Then we've got Safi Sharif at 7, all the way down at 7.
I know, the all-rounder.
That's it. So 59 not out and 3 for 25 off his 9 against Perth Ducat. Fergus Duncan, we'll just get the magnifying glass out for all he was doing Fergus Duncan things, apparently. 48 not out, 3 for 30 against Dundee High School, and then 1 for 9 and 2 for 18, which was off 4 overs as well against Ferguson, because the economy rate of that is part of what was so excellent about that spell of bowling. Then a recent guest, Bryce Carnegie, 41 off 36 balls and 5 for 41 off his 10. The Milkman in at 10.
Yeah.
4 for 32.
And a hat trick.
Yeah. Important things.
Absolutely.
And then Jack O'Neill, after all these near misses of Team of the Week with a bat, he takes a 5 and gets in with the ball.
Yeah. It does, yeah.
He did score a 25 not out in the semi-final as well. But
yeah. And he bowled solidly in the final too, actually. But yeah, it was mainly for that 5 that he made the Team of the Week. Right. Do I introduce the interview now?
We need to do the interview. Yeah, we need to do that now.
Right, okay. So, someone who has been a regular in our Team of the Week, but isn't there this week. We have got an interview with Jack Hogarth of Forfarshire. So we are going to pass you across to that now. We are joined by Forfarshire leg spinner, Jack Hogarth. Jack, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. I think you mean Dibbly Dobbler's Team of the Week leg spinner, because I mean the amount of times you've been in it.
Yeah. It's been a regular.
I was telling the lads I listened to the podcast, and they're all on me saying that you only listen because they put you in the Team of the Week. I promise that's not why I listen. I promise. I'm really interested in what's going on with our second team in the SPCU.
The amount of folk that started following us on Twitter and stuff after they've got in Team of the Week, though, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It's good, to be fair. Listen to it, and obviously, having played in the SPCU for years and years and years, I actually do take an interest. There's no secret at the club. I'm probably the biggest nuffy at Force, so I look at every result, every highlight, everything possible. So, and plus, if I'm in it, then even better.
Yeah. So, I guess the main reason for speaking to you is you're in a run of cup finals. You were in the T20 Scottish Cup finals last weekend, and you've got the Scottish Cup final coming up this weekend. We'll speak about the T20 stuff that's been and gone first then.
Yep.
So, firstly, congratulations on a cup win. And just get your thoughts on that.
Thanks very much. I think over the last few years, we've prided ourselves on our T20. Obviously, we won the Murgatroyd, when it was called the Murgatroyd in 2019. But kind of in the years leading up to that, and since that, we've prided ourselves on our T20 cricket. Obviously, when you've got boys like Leesky and Wally just sending it to all parts, makes it a little bit easier. But we've fancied ourselves the last few years. Got beat by Carlton in the final last year, where we just didn't get enough runs. But no, we were pretty confident going into this weekend if the batters could fire, but especially with the ball, we've got a lot of bowlers with good death skills and stuff. So no, we were confident going into that. But obviously the big one was that semi-final against Heriots, they're a class side. So it was kind of in these games, it's almost like a bat off, to be honest.
Yeah,
they've got so many good batters, we've got so many good batters, and it just takes one of them boys to have a day out, and you could literally, especially in 20 over game, you could be on the losing side. But luckily for us, Leesky went off in both games, and we bowled and fielded really well, which there's not been many games where we've put all three together, but on Saturday we were on Sunday, we were pretty good in all three departments.
I suppose to topple a team like Heriots, you kind of have to. You probably can't afford to let one side of it slip, because they're so stacked. I mean, you guys have got a lot of talent as well, but I think there's a reason that they've been winning the EPL.
Yeah, we lost to them in the league game at Fort Hill I think we got 350 and they chased it.
Yeah.
And that was like they batted really well, like all credit to them, but I dropped 2 pretty valuable catches, which cost us. And that was literally the difference between the sides. Like, because Wally got like 110 or something off about 20 balls, but when he gave a chance, they took it. And unfortunately, Sheen batted out his skin that day, but we didn't quite take our chances there. And the difference is in the quarterfinal of Scottish Cup when we played them, and then on that game on Sunday there, we took our chances in the field, which is massive for us. Because as you say, with these players, if you give them a chance, they just kill you. Like, you've got no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it must use it. I suppose they've had the better in the league, but you've now knocked them out a couple of times in the cup competition, so I suppose that'll ease the sting of the league defeat.
Yeah, the leagues have like that's definitely the hardest thing to win the league. Especially this year, the league I thought was a lot better than last year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year it was a little bit guilty of there being a bit of a gulf between the top 4 and the rest.
Yeah.
Whereas this year was really there's a lot of dangerous players in sort of the bottom half teams.
Yeah.
Even Arbroath, when they hadn't won a game, if Vian got 150, like you're in big trouble. Obviously, Watsonians with boys like Hayers and Christoffen had a really good first half of the year as well. So the league in general was a lot tighter. But yeah, it was good to on Sunday for like T20s. I'd say that's where we back ourselves. So no, it was good to get that one over the line. I was a bit nervous batting next. You know, when you sort of need 20 of 26 and stuff with their bowling attack as well, which their bowling attack at full strength is like a county attack, to be honest. But no, glad to get over the line on Sunday. That was good.
Yeah, and then obviously you put up a decent total batting first in the final. Ferguson got off to a very quick start as well, with Stafford hitting it kind of everywhere. Everywhere I guess there was quite a relief when Scott Cameron was able to prize him out.
I see what Stafford was whacking it, and I was in the back of my head. We were a bit guilty of just bowling sort of length, and he was whacking it. In the back of my head, I was just hoping Scott was going to try and hit him in the head.
Yeah,
because I thought that's how we get him out. But to be honest, I've got it. Like, I wasn't really overly concerned because like where we've been really, really good is through the middle, like keeping it really tight. And I thought if like on that wicket was spinning as well. So like with Leesky, myself, and Jack, the overseas, like I thought we'd be able to claw it back, even if teams do get off to a really good start.
Yeah.
But luckily we saw when we went bang bang, Scotty obviously got Stafford and then Riyadh the big wicket because Riyadh's a really good player and he was the one who sort of he'll bat through for them and they'll bat around them. He was the big wicket, getting them like that first ball was obviously really handy. But you even seen towards the end, like they were again such a dangerous team. Well, like Adil Ghaffar coming in down the order, like whacking it. But as I say, it was just once you get a couple wickets and that rate starts to go up, feel a little bit more comfortable than when Stafford's in every single ball for 4.
Yeah, because you did a fantastic job through the middle, as you say, sort of turning that screw and keeping it tight. Yourself and Fergus Duncan bowled pretty well as well. I
can't believe I didn't mention him. Oh, I should have mentioned it. What a guy he is. Oh, honestly, what a man. We call him. Do you remember the bowler down in England, Jeremy Snape?
The moon ball.
Used to bowl the moon ball. That's what he gets called. When Fergus comes on the bowl, it's not Fergus. It's every other name you could think of. But a guile like the Forfarshire legend Ted Walker, get that above the eye line, make it difficult for them. The complete polar opposite to myself, but very effective.
Yeah, and it was very effective on Sunday in the final, wasn't it? Yeah.
A couple of
Effective
big celebrations
pies is what you're saying.
well.
Well, that's all you need to do sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, that's all you ever do, Andrew. So that's all right.
Yeah, mine's aren't always
You
effective.
three are all about the same pace, I can just get up, above the eye line.
I mean, I suppose you're talking about there, even though they were whacking it about, you still had a bit of confidence. I suppose the fact that, you've had 2 tournament victories in the last 2, well, one wasn't completed, I think, from COVID.
Yeah.
So, and then runner up to Carlton. So, I mean, you guys have got a lot of history, or certainly in recent times, you've had a lot of success, and I guess that must help these kind of things. I mean, how, as a club, even though you've, as a team, had the success, guys like Wally and Leesky, how do they share their experience with you guys? Having heads like that around really help in these situations?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like with our team now, I don't know what the average age is, but it can't be far above 23 or 24. Like when it felt, because Leesky and Wally are the only players above 30.
Yeah.
And I think Glenn Carnegie would be the next oldest at 27, and then everybody else is 25 and below. And obviously, like a couple of boys, Fergus, Jack's only 20, Fergus is only 19. Like we've all kind of grown up together, a lot of us, myself, Callum Garden, Rory Johnson, Scott Cameron, and we've grown up luckily with players like Wally who have just like been so helpful with us with that kind of thing. And I think once you win something once you've been there and done it, it gives you a lot more confidence when you're in that position again.
Yeah.
We'll come on to like Sunday, where that's a bit different because we've not been there before. That's like, as a group, that's something we've not done before. Whereas with the 2020, when you've been there and done it, you get a lot of valuable experience out of winning things.
Yeah. So I guess before we speak about Sunday, you've got a big decision to make for us. So we are between 2 players for our player of the week this week, and they're both your teammates. So you're going to choose which one's player of the week. And for the listeners' benefit, we're not just springing this on Jack. We have okayed him that he's going to make this decision.
Although he doesn't know who it is.
He doesn't know who it is.
I don't know who it is. That's the only part that worries me. And I've got an idea as to who one of them is.
Yeah, right. So one of them was kind of big performances on Sunday, and one I think was strong across the whole weekend. So your Sunday performer, Michael Lees, with his 61 off 39 in the semi-final and 87 off 52 in the final. And then the other player, for his 80 not out on Saturday off 64 balls against Carlton, and then 3 for 29 off 3 in the final, and those huge wickets off consecutive balls, was Scott Cameron. So my vote was for Scott. Callum's vote was for Leesky.
No offense, Scott. Just
So you're going to break the tie, Jack.
So you've given me the choice between the person I sit next to in the changing room and my captain.
Yeah.
Who actually sits on the other side of me in the changing room. So that's a tough one. Honestly, that's tough. Leesky was amazing on Sunday, like really good, big occasion. Like that's just a bit of him.
Yeah.
When there's a bit of a crowd, people getting into him, like he really stands up. But Scott will make, like, he won't be around the bush about it. He's struggled a bit with the bat this year. And the way he batted on Saturday was like what he can do. Everybody knows he can do that.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant to see him do that. He almost scored. He was 3 runs short of scoring his total league runs for the season in 1 innings.
Jeez, I had seen he'd been in a bit of a rough patch, but I didn't quite realise it was as rough as that.
Yeah. So, and because Michael Lease doesn't pick if I bowl and wear a bat, I'm going to need to go with Scott Cameron, player of the week.
Oh, this is rigged. I'm not having this.
Because that's just because he's gone with the one that I chose, another one that you chose. So yeah,
well, exactly.
he has already mentioned, spreading bowling workloads on Saturday because there's half of us are carrying injuries, and I'm one of them. And he sort of mentioned you might not bowl your 10 on Saturday, but I want to finish number one bowler in the APL, so I'm kind of.
You want your overs.
I think Saturday morning I'll be running about showing him that there's nothing wrong with me, trying to get my 10 overs in. But hopefully, picking him as player of the week, I'll get my 10 overs. So let's go with Scott Cameron. And he batted well as well. And and bowling wise, he bowled really well as well. To be fair, he bowled well on Saturday as well, actually, at Carlton. Got himself a good start. Yeah. So we'll go with Scott Cameron. And Michael Leask wasn't playing Saturday, and he's not playing this Saturday either. So let's go with Scott.
It's just like that, right?
You're gutted.
Nah. Scott, no, I said that where we did a chat before. I sort of said, well, we go for Scott. I'm happy with that still as well. So no, two very strong performances.
So on to this weekend then. It's Scottish Cup final weekend, and you're up against Ayr. Aside, you'll not have seen. What have you seen of them, I guess? Because you've not faced them. But what do you know about them?
Well, remember before I mentioned I'm a bit of a nuffy. I probably know a lot more than people would think. Now, luckily, I've played a bit of cricket with a few other players. Mikey English, I've played a fair bit of 18 cricket with. He's a really good player. Probably unlucky to never have an opportunity in the full team, to be honest with you. He's a really good player. Hamza Tahir, again, same thing. Performance Academy, A-team stuff. The Wizard, he's a top bowler. And then a bit of junior cricket with a few of them. Mike Miller, the wicketkeeper. Neil Flack, bats number 3, bowls a bit. So there's 4 other players. And then luckily, just got a few spies, just find out a thing or two. Lewis James obviously grew up at Pollock all his days, so he's played against them a fair bit. So, yeah, kind of know a bit more about them than I should. But to be honest, I actually really like. Unluckily, in the last few years of Scottish, we've not played a West team. And I love the idea of playing against somebody you know nothing about. No preconceived ideas. And just concentrate on yourself. And that's the way we're going to go about it. Just worry about us. Take care of us. And it'll be fine. Because if you go, especially this year, as I mentioned before, with a lot of the teams you play, they've got really dangerous top order batters, etc. If you worry about them, you're going to struggle. Like on Saturday, we've got Watsonians. If I go, oh God, I've got the ball to Ollie Hayes, he's going to whack me not much chance. If we just concentrate on what we do well, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So that's definitely where we're going to go about it. But it'll be a great occasion. There'll be a lot of players there. We've got a big bus going down. I've heard they've got 2 supporters buses going.
Wow.
So, and obviously,
boisterous.
Yeah, so it should be good. Last Sunday was really good as well. Loads of fans there. And with the semi-final for Hill, when we played Watsonians, there was about 150 or so there. And to be honest, just playing cricket in front of more people and getting a good day for it and stuff is just brilliant. It's just brilliant to play in. So yeah, just really looking forward to it, to be honest. I've honestly not thought that much about the game. Just thinking more about the sort of day it'll be like for the club, taking everybody down there, and I say playing in front of a lot of people and stuff. It should be a brilliant day. Hopefully the weather is decent as well.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying about worrying about yourselves completely fair as well. The relative is you guys have got a packed, talented squad. Ayr have got good players as well, but I wouldn't suggest there's somebody you guys need to be going and fearing.
No.
I still maintain that the East's a better standard of cricket than the West. So just on the whole, and
I
you
think
guys
a
are
lot
doing.
of people will go along with that. I think the wickets and stuff have got a lot to do with that as well, though. I think there is a lot of talented players there, and like West, they'll have Ayr have like a lot of dangerous players as well. But I think a lot to do with the standards, a lot to do with the wickets, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a lot wetter through there.
I can't think of many wickets I'd like to bat on through there. Maybe a couple. Ayr being one of them, to be honest. But up here, there's quite a few. You know, our place, Grange, Heriots, pretty good wickets.
Yeah,
I think Aberdeen's getting a bit better, but I
mean,
think that's a lot to do with the standard. But as I say, if we just concentrate on ourselves and most of all just enjoy it, just enjoy the occasion, enjoy like we've done all year, to be honest, just having a laugh. Like at the end of the day, we're just 11 mates who just go out and have a laugh and then go to the pub after. Like there's nothing like there's no special coaching. Like me and Dino are the coaches of the club this year. Like there's no belts and whistles. It's just boys enjoying it, having a laugh, going out for food, going on nights out, and then playing good cricket together. So
yeah, that is still club cricket at the end of the day, and it's
absolutely,
it's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. So so we're just going to enjoy it, and if we can put together what like the three things we've spoke about, then we'll be absolutely fine. But really looking forward to it, to be honest.
Good.
Excellent. Well, no, obviously we're sending our support. You know, you guys are representing our area, so we're cheering you on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a few of us have won the under 15 Scottish Cup and the under 18 Scottish Cup. So this is the grand final of the three.
Yeah.
So that would be good to have in the locker, all three of them. So, but it's the Scottish Cup, to be honest, since I sort of got into the first team, has been something we always spoke about, wanting to do well in the Scottish Cup. And so we've always just got to that quarter-final hurdle and had a shootout against a Grange or a Heriots and fallen at that fence. And we've got past that this year, so hopefully, we can capitalise on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as Callum said, we wish you all the best, and we hope you bring the trophy back up the road with you on Sunday.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
That'll be a quiet bus journey home if we bring that cup back.
The poor Witherspoons near the ground. You'll be down there drinking pints out of it.
Yeah. Oh, honestly. That's been, as I say, I've not thought all that much about the game. It's just more about like the occasion, like what it could be like after. We've got like a few of my mates and a few mates of a few of the boys who come and watch every single game, home and away. And like just for them, like it would be brilliant to get the job done. Like because on Sunday, like after winning that, coming back off the pitch and then seeing all them, like how happy they are for you. They don't play cricket. They knew nothing about cricket until coming to watch us play. And they travel all over Scotland to watch us and see how happy they are for us to win. Like that's the motivation. Them and the old boys at the club who again watch every game, travel to every game. Like that's the motivation. Like how what it would be, how good they'll feel for it, and what we could do for them. So
maybe on the flight to Malaga for some T10 cricket at the start of next year.
Well, we actually forgot about that part of it a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Well, you better qualify for the grand final, seeing as Carlton let us down. So, no pressure.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. And then on Saturday, we played Carlton. I spoke to Hugo Southwell, and he's talking about Malaga and stuff. And I was thinking, what is he going on about? And then it clicked. If we win the T20, you get to go there. So that's, I've told Jack that he needs to stay because he needs to come on the holiday in Malaga. So hopefully he'll be sticking around till next year. That would be good.
Aye. Oh, cool. Excellent. No, good. Straight out. Right. We wish you all the luck. And I'm sure it'll be a party atmosphere at the ground, in the bus, and probably in the bar once you get back home if you win. So, fingers crossed. And,
well, Monday's an English bank holiday, and I work for an English company, so there's always that. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
You didn't sell yourself as an alcoholic or anything, Jack. It's all right.
Nah, I don't actually drink. I just a couple of waters for me, just to enjoy the atmosphere.
Aye.
Jack, you want to go get me beer in the fridge?
I was going to say, as you're drinking out of a tenant's glass.
Oh, yeah, dead giveaway. That'll be a stolen from Fort Hill at some stage, I'd imagine.
Brilliant.
That's it. Admitting to petty crime now as well.
No, I need to stop talking. Talk too much.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, on that note,
before you incriminate yourself any further.
Thank you very much for joining us, Jack. Really appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with us. And all the best on Sunday. And we hope you come home with a victory.
Yeah. Cheers, Jack.
Perfect. Thank you very much, lads. Cheers.
And cheers again to Jack for joining us. And basically what we've had is a situation where Jack has completely ignored what actually took place on the field and is just looking after his own bowling.
I can get on board with that.
But, I mean, what's your excuse? Because you're not getting a bowl.
I just thought it was a more critical performance over the weekend.
Fair enough. So, yes,
all
our
things
player
considered
of the week, Scott Cameron.
Yeah.
Of Force. It was a good weekend. I'm just in jest.
Good to see him find some form with the bat, because he's a very capable player. But
I mean, he bowled me for a duck, so clearly I've helped his career as well.
Yeah.
So
I've never been unfortunate enough to face him. So
it was a jaff. So even he admitted that. So I'm at least going with that. But So anyway,
that's all that we've got time for on this episode this week. Yeah.
No. Just I've had to listen to you for weeks. So let's get on to the prediction. Those who follow us on Twitter will have already seen the prediction.
It's funny how they came out quickly on Twitter this week, Callum, wasn't it?
They came out quickly last time as well.
Did they now?
We just decided at the end of the season we're going to start putting them out. More viewer engagement is what we're going for.
Yeah, okay.
So, but the fact that I got a clean sweep, I think that might be the first 7. So, to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, there were 5 easy picks and then one that could have gone either way.
No,
and I went the wrong way.
6 easy picks. 6. I don't know if you can see that. I find them all really easy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Callum got the one we went different, right?
Yeah, Perth Ducat v Fruki was the only result that we swayed on. Just for, I was going to say just for those who haven't followed, but we've already done the results. So
we have, yeah.
If you didn't ignore us at the start, then...
Yeah, if you don't know what the results are, go back to the start of the episode and find out.
So what does that do to the scores on the doors?
I don't care what that does to the scores.
Oh.
Yeah, so you stretch that lead out to 2 points again with 1 week to play. So 78 plays 76.
I feel a bit like Usain Bolt easing up just before the finish line now.
Yeah.
Just coasting.
We'll see what happens this week. Be an interesting one.
Well, should we get on to this week then?
Yeah, let's go on to this week and we'll see what are the predictions.
We've done our usual. We've no prep this, Andrew, but
okay.
We'll do that on air.
Joker, I mean, you'll know where I'm going with mine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you already said that, actually.
Yeah, I mean... Right, so Callum gave his predictions first this week and he went for Meagle to beat Dundee High, Ducat to beat Forfarshire 2s, Fruki to beat Arbroath, Aberdeenshire to beat Stonywood Dice, Huntly to beat Gordonians and Strathmore to beat Kinloch. I need to make up 2 points at least.
I was going to say, you've only allowed yourself a draw here.
Yeah, but I didn't have any options to do any better than that, so... So I've gone for Forfarshire 2s to beat Perth Ducat. I believe that Forfarshire 2s should be fairly strong this weekend, so I've been told, so there's a chance there. And I've gone for Kinloch to beat Strathmore in the Lochside derby. Yeah. I was going to say Loughlin's, but that's Arbroath.
Yeah.
Stop myself halfway through. Anyway, the Forfar derby. And to be fair, that was one you picked Strathmore first, but the fact that Brits is away, I can see.
And to be fair, you and I were having, when we were sort of off air, we were having our chats about last week about the permutations of what could happen, and we did look at that game and say that of the games that are left, if Forfarshire 2s are putting out a fairly strong team, yeah, they've got the capabilities of defeating Ducat. But I just said that is probably the most 50-50.
Yeah,
I mean, the table would suggest that it's the most 50-50.
Yeah, right next to each other.
And Strathmore only just came out victorious against them last time.
Yeah.
So definitely be a tight game. But I can't lose to you. So, I mean, that's good.
Well, we'll just have to work something out if we'd end up level. And under and over on the playoff score or something like that. You can't get to the end of the year and not and have a tie. You can't. Anyway, Joker time. It's my
just changing the format of the thing entirely.
Well, no, you've got to have some way to break the tie, don't you?
You'd get onto the competitions committee, mate.
Yeah, I'll go for the slam dunk and take Meagle to beat Dundee High School. Thank you.
Cool. Well, I'll go for what should then be the next slam dunk, and I'll take Aberdeenshire against Stonywood Dice. So,
Mr. Davison will not be happy with you.
Well, I mean, the fact that we had to go and dig out the Stonywood Dice graphic just for when they played Dundee High. So, it was fine. We don't even have Dundee High's graphics. So,
yeah. Right, well, that brings us to the end.
That brings us to the end. I have saved the image, but...
oh, there we go. Look, there's the Jokers are on screen for you guys that are watching on YouTube as well. So you can see the visual representation.
So what happens next week, Andrew, is that you're going to be crying on YouTube.
Probably, yeah.
You'll just have this look about you, and it's like...
Anyway, yeah.
You've clawed it back, though.
I did. I mean, I was dead and buried at halfway. And your backside was going as we got towards the last few weeks. Like, I mean, you were worried.
I kept back in the wrong horse, clearly.
Yeah.
But, it's been quite good. But yes, we will see how this weekend goes for everybody. Most clubs, this will be the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, we will know for definite who the winners of the NEC are, who will then go on to face the ESCA Championship winners in the playoff the week after. We have the Scottish Cup coming up. Do they still do a playoff between the East and the West winners? I can't remember.
Yeah, the grand final.
There is a grand final.
Yeah, there is.
Still.
Yeah.
So that's the same day as or same weekend as the playoff. I can't remember if they play it on a different day. So that's still to come, but we really are coming to a close in the season. Yeah.
We have got another interview lined up for next week, so some would say we've got a big fish. There's a reference for you. Oh. Those who know. But yeah.
How do we bat a mate on an interview? I
don't know. There's a more obvious giveaway.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, reach out to us on Twitter at dibdobpod. Please do subscribe on YouTube, like, share on your own social medias and all that sort of stuff. It's been a pleasure speaking to you again, as we do every week. Thanks again to Jack for the interview on this episode.
It sounded a bit formal, like we're closing it out for the season there.
We've got 2 more probably.
2 more. There's a World Cup around the corner as well. So
we'll try and do something for that.
We'll see what.
Maybe speak to some other podcasters for that, actually. That's just a thought.
I don't know. I just hope to be awake by that point. I'm like so tired.
5 o'clock in the morning starts for those games. It's early doors.
I've only finished work about 3 hours before I enter this week.
Anyway, that's us wrapping this up. Yep. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, however you consume our podcast. And we'll speak to you again next week.
Bye, everyone.